Hello everyone, I'm happy to greet you on my second lesson of dedicated to V-Ray materials. Uh, During our next lesson we'll do a lot of stuff referring to natural materials and cloth. Today we'll be considering our general materials. So let's make a box at first. Okay, so let's make it 5 meters by 5 meters. Okay, 5 by 3. And 3 meters in height. As you see, our parameters are given in millimeters. And let's make a window here. Convert to polygons. Okay, let's get us a place for a window. Set. Scale it. Make it a bit smaller. Let's make it a bit higher. So let's try to do the kind of stuff we get in a typical commie block house. Let's check where we got our normals going. And they are going backwards. And we want them going into the interior. So you want them going the other way. So you go over here. Go here. Okay. Okay, let's make a kind of a ceiling where we get our lighting system done. Okay, I just clicked ALTR to do this. You can do Alt-Tab, but they won't quite work. Okay, Alt-Ring. Just holding Control, selecting the polygons. Okay, and do it along the normal. Group. Okay, here's my polygon here. And this is what it gets us. And every polygon goes to its normal, along its normal. Okay, by group here. So it goes to just by one side. So this is what we have here. We got this thing done. So let's say set up a camera and start doing some lighting for it. Okay, let's do the clipping first. Make a high value here. Let's do 1 meter here. Okay. So this is the cutoff line here. So, and that's what we will be able to see designated by the triangle. Okay, let's press C. Click Shift F. Okay, let's go with realistic. I made the window on the other side, so that's why I don't see anything. Okay, let's go here. This is what, okay, now I got what we want. Let's make the angle a bit higher. and make the scene a bit bigger. Just want a bit more stuff to fit in. Let's choose one material. Let's make it white. Make it a bit gray. And this object is going to be used as our V-Ray light material later on. So let's do the V-Ray kind of light we used in the first lesson. Okay, let's click this. Click with yes. Put up the sun. Let's make it a bit bigger. Let's go to Environment Effects. Let's make an instance copy over here. Turn it on. Choose Sun. That's about. Okay, let's do some stuff on the lightning. Okay, let's click Mesh. Okay, and we can add our plot. Click this. Okay, and put this thing into Skylight Portal. Let's try seeing what we can get. Okay, and this is what we got as a result. Let's go with Global Illumination. We don't want any. Okay, I'll set brute force here. We don't want any defects. To get a bit faster on your first attempts, you can use a radiance map and use low or very low settings. I put low. And brute force is a secondary. You might get some defects, but the preview speed sometimes can be more important. Use Embry. Low priority. Okay. Right hard here. Filtration. Got that done. Let's try looking at this. Okay, you can't quite see the sun. Not very correct color-wise. You need to put it on the side of the camera. So I'll just move it a bit. Okay. Let's look at this again. Okay, let's see how we've got the sun into our scene. And this is the test of what we are. Interior. We are making the scene for further learning on the topic of materials, so it's not going to be very complex. Okay, let's do some camera settings. Let's make some white balance. Okay, let's make the sky a bit bluer. And let's make our picture a bit lighter. It seems to be enough light now. I don't quite like this view on the window, so I'll just do just some small movement adjustments. Okay, got this here. Let's make the sky. Let's make it okay a bit less deliberate. Okay, let's try looking at this. Okay. V-ray two-sided materials. Now that's what we're going to start off. And as you remember from this goes for translucent materials here. And let's make see-through windows, not seal cloth, window cloth, I guess. Curtain. I got the word out of my mind. Okay, let's go here. Let's choose this one. Let's import this one. Okay, let's look at what we've got. Renders all files. Okay, I'll set 04 here. Okay, so we'll be importing everything. Okay, let's choose the non-necessary stuff, delete it. Or we can just show it along the y-axis. Okay, let's put it into our scene. We'll try to get it exactly. And let's look at what we got. Okay, let's go to with metal. Okay, metal over here. We'll just call it this way. I do recommend you always correctly calling the materials, because sometimes you can choose the spiller, but well, here I'd recommend always putting the correct name. It's quite necessary because you can easily get confused when you'll be working with a bunch of different materials. Sometimes you do end up making your project in a huge hurry, but I'd still recommend you to do this all correctly. So don't spend some extra time thinking about the names. Okay, let's choose white over here. Okay, let's see what our curtain looks like. See-through curtain. It does make our cache calculations a bit longer. So this is what we're going to be doing so we won't spend all that much time on the tests. So as you see, we got some sky influence going on. That little blue light. And our sun has also some influence. So, okay. But they don't go through our curtain, so it doesn't satisfy us. Let's make it a bit more see-through. Since it's not exactly straight, I'd put it here and Fresnel. Okay, frontal. And it's going to be see-through, but this effect is going to be us making it a bit more darker when it bends. Okay, let's change this. Okay, I'll change this to here. Okay, it doesn't break any light, it's just see-through, so that's why we change it. Okay, 50 here. Effect shadows. Okay, let's put this here. Let's make a part of it. So when we change the material, the cache calculation time also increases. As you see, it's now more transparent. Okay. Let's wait a bit while it renders. Okay, we got a bit more white. Okay, we got the sun here. Some more blick, however. And now, we got an overall overly more translucent, transparent effect. But it's useful to get this out of global lighting on the scene. To get objects out of the scene. So we had 1 minute for the render. Let's leave it and just change some stuff. Okay, let's go to our lights. Go to our portal. And exclude our curtain from from the list of objects our sun influences. Okay, object properties, cast shadows. Okay. Here we can state to what extent it's sensible to light, and I'd put it a bit more to the side, the parameters. Okay, we got a bit lighter. Okay, V-Ray override material, keep here. Okay, let's exclude it from the global illumination over here. Okay, let's set a material here. And an opacity. Okay, let's go to V-Ray color. Okay, let's set black here. Okay, and we get this kind of material as a result. Okay, let's see what we got in the render time. So as you see, the cache calculating time has shrunk by 2. Okay. As you see, we've made a lighter two-side material. Our curtain has got a bit lighter. As you see, okay, and we get some light problems on it here, and we stop getting the shadows we had on the left, on the right. A lot of people don't notice it. So, and since we save a lot of time on the rendering calculations, sometimes you can, um, well, it's a worthwhile sacrifice for the new shadows. So, as we did in the former, firstly, we got these stared kind of shadow effects, and we don't have them on the right, but it took twice as less time, even on a very simple kind of calculation. So, I'd think it's quite worthwhile since it's insignificant for the view. Okay, let's make a cylinder in the center here. Okay. Make a bit more segments on it. Okay, let's lift it up to the ceiling. Okay, let's just change it this way. And we'll make it V-Ray two-sided. Call it, okay. This is how I'll call it. We'll change this, delete this here from the refract slot. Okay, make it a bit grayer. So this is the color I'll choose to do. Okay. Just set the material over here. Okay. Global lighting here. So I wanted to trace the global illumination. Make it a sphere. So we want one lamp here. Let's make our curtain box. Right click it, object properties, display. Okay. It's video memory here. Okay, as you choose it, it goes to minimum. Okay. So let's make it a bit lighter, whiter, more yellow here. Okay, let's change it. Okay, let's do the region scene here. Okay, we don't see the color of the lamp here, but we do see that it does transfer light. Okay. Because these settings over here are dedicated for a more lighter kind of area. Just set the changes this way. Let's go to rating power, multiply it by 10. And now these are the effects that we are getting. Okay, it doesn't seem to be satisfying. Now we've got how our light influences the light surrounding thing, the thing that surrounds our lamp. So let's try to see what our V-Ray two-sided material looks like. So let's, as you can see, where it gets more or less light, it's darker and lighter in the respective places. Okay, let's just do some more editing. Let's added some of this stuff. Okay, some borders. Okay. Okay, corner. Okay. Let's make it a bit thicker. Okay, say we don't quite like it. Okay, make it a bit bigger. So as we see, we have this kind of uh, defined border now, highlighted border. Okay, let's make it a bit. Let's make it a bit more detailed. Let's multiply it by 50 or 100. Okay, let's put it closer to the borders. So we'll have 3 lamps now. Okay, region. Okay, we have the frame buffer turned off now. This seems to be the result what we are getting. It's a bit more interesting now. So they are closer to the edge, the lights, and it's brighter. And let's make a material on the back side of our light light curtain, or how's it called? Okay. Um, so let's add a cloth on it. Okay, let's put it to 2, this value. And back material. Make a light material here. Okay, on our lampshade, that is. Okay. Okay. Okay, so because of yellow, you can't really catch the material on the backside, so let's make it black over here. So we've got our lampshade done with another material. So as you mix it, okay, let's exclude this. Okay. Okay, let's make the material here. We have one on this surface set. That the on the normal that are going for the outside. Okay, let's go with defaults here. So we see a black material here, as you see, and it's a kind of a cloth over here. Okay, so okay, they kind of mixed in, and we don't want this kind of result. Okay, you want a bump. Okay, let's test our lampshade later on. Okay, so you get the principle. Okay, so you can get an understanding of how this works, I guess. So our curtain material can be worked upon. But you, okay. So, okay. So if you want to make some kind of black interior, you can get into a problem where your lampshade doesn't pass through any light, and you'll just do these parameters I've just demonstrated. Okay. So here, so you get a whole lot of light right now passing through. It's unrealistic, but if you have a dark room, it will be just fine. So you go here and you put it on, click this tab over there. Overwrite material, copy, discard all material. So this is what you do. You go over add material, GI capacity, and that's what you do. Just as I've demonstrated earlier. Okay, V-Ray it overrides. Okay, let's make it red over here. Okay, let's just see how it works. So you got a red ball going. Okay, so as you see, it reflects also the red lights that go onto the surface. So let's try getting rid of it. Okay, let's close it. Okay, V-Ray right material, add it. Go to GI, diffuse. Okay. So as you see in our global light, the ball is red, and all the light that traces from, it gets this kind of blue feel to it. So basically, you see this, how you can see how it works. So, so I would recommend using this feature when you have a dark room, say a room with a dark wood kind of design. Okay, I'll change this here. Let's make it a bit. So you can use it to make the whole scene a bit lighter. Okay, let's put it white. Let's set a mirror. Okay, and you want it to reflect. Okay. Let's switch it over. Okay. Okay, let's move it a bit. Okay, let's make it a bit red. We get the same material as we had before from the mirror. Since you have a mirror done. But we can play around with the reflection effects. So let's give it a try. Okay. So let's make some kind of bright material and have some experiments on it. So as you see, it's now, the reflection material is now what we have put set to. Okay. So you can have this effect during reflections and light breaks. So you can turn it off during reflections or refractions. This object or object. So, okay. So let's try making a glass and see how V-Ray overwrite looks for or works for glass. So I want it to be covering half of the material. Okay, half our sphere. And make it see-through. Fresnel over here. And just set a name for it. Because you want, okay, because we wanted to make a new one. Okay, go get a different name. So here, this goes here. Region. So, okay, we've got it on the picture. As you see, we see the red material through the glass. And with this parameter, we can play around with these parameters here. Okay, let's make it a bit different here. Let's make it yellow. Okay, refract material. So we got half of the sphere to be yellow. So the one that's refracting is now yellow. So part of it's going to be green. Part of the reflection. Okay, so we can see some use for it. Okay. I hope you've got everything about this material. So you can use the global illumination for it. Okay, works with GI there. Reflected there. Okay. V-Ray shadow here. Let's see how it works. We won't see much of a difference, but because, well, the shadows will be pretty much the same for different colors. You won't see much of a difference in shadow. So when you turn on shadow, you probably won't see that all that much. So let's pick a material over here. Okay, and you probably won't notice that difference after we've done this. So let's continue, have another look at our material, at our base material that you have in your, well, base. The material that works For the global lighting and tracing, the material that you can set to the reflection and change the material you can see further on. And see what you can see from the see-through stuff. Okay, let's go to the camera. Okay, the V-Ray light material here. So let's add a scene. And make a highlight over here. And we'll also make a spline. Give it these sides. Okay, thickness. Okay, about this way. And put it into here. So this is possible when you have V-Ray imitating the ceiling lightings. So you can do this with the mesh. But I'll be personally doing this way. It's a bit more simple. So let's delete our lampshade. I won't be deleting it, I'll just put it back somewhere. So I'll group it and place it somewhere else. Okay, region. So with these values, you don't really see anything. So we'll just give it this kind of effect. So, okay, you can get this kind of stuff. You don't really need some kind of additional light because it will slow down your render. So you don't want this ceiling light to trace the global illumination. Okay, so since it works without any artifacts, you can do this in the same way. You won't be getting any global illumination. You don't have to generate anything. Okay, so since we don't have any problems, we'll leave it in this way. We won't be excluding it from the global illumination set. Because, well, you'll have to turn on the global illumination. Should be turned off when you see the object in it. So if you see the lighting in it, this lighting here, it doesn't trace anything else. So if you're using V-Ray material on some sort of additional light, like additional TV light where you have the buttons glowing, that's when you should exclude it from global illumination. So you shouldn't be excluding in other cases. So if you get your brute force too noisy, then you should do this, and through mesh, okay, this, and get some light from mesh. Let's convert it to polygons. Okay, let's see how it works. Okay, now you can do some additional uplighting here behind these things. So it's basically the same as in V-Ray Light. Okay, so you got this backlight going. So if you're getting too much noise, you should use V-Ray. Okay. Okay, so let's say this one's a bit bigger. This, okay. Okay, so here, let's make it a bit darker. And make it, let's get ourselves a map to mix up. Okay. So I'll just choose a map over here. A map that will do as a mask. Okay, here. So you might be asking, looking at this result, what's up? What's so special with this? We just make it by just making a mix. But the difference in what we've done is you can regulate the two materials. So say I want these flowers to have a reflection. Okay, let's make it a bit more. And I want the rest of the stuff to have a bump. Okay, the very smallest of it. So you have more to... So you get this kind of effect, which would be impossible, pretty much impossible otherwise. You'd have to be mixing a whole lot of stuff. You bump here, you'll have to be bumping there and here. And with every time you'd be getting more and more maps, so that would be very, very troublesome. Okay. So you get it here. So you can also add some dirt on the angles and some flowers and some other stuff. Okay, just make it white here. Make them closer to each other. Okay. Delete this here. And just one spot here. Make it 20. Okay, material here. Okay, and you can easily change this material through the way we have done. Okay, so we say we want it all to be glance. Okay. So just for the sake of an example, let's add this. It will help us to understand the possibilities of V-Ray blend. Okay, so we've done this so far. And we've spread it out, and so this way it can look as our wallpaper, 8 by 8. Okay. Region here. Okay, and you're starting to get your wallpapers. So during this lesson, we've probably looked through all of the materials that have limited possibilities. And V-Ray two-sided materials but it consists of several other ordinary V-Ray materials. We have also met with V-Ray overrides. That that allows us to influence global illumination to help us work with the colors in the scene. Okay, you'll be trying all of this during your practical homework, but on another example, you will have to make your own small interior. And I guess you can use this kind of light for money-oriented, monetary-oriented visualization. You'll just have to add your own models, and you probably won't have to do anything. Okay. Like cache on the secondary, brute force on the primary. Okay, portal here. So you'll be changing this kind of stuff by your own preferences. The physical settings of the camera. So when the camera's unsensitive to global illuminations, you'll just have to use ordinary lighting systems. So you'll be using with the first and second and material and the material that covers it too. So now what we're going to do is we'll look at the material that is called proper base material. Okay, let's set a color. Okay. Okay, let's see that how our properties affect the object. So we can see the cube that we have set the parameters for. So it is made by our base material. Okay, let's look at this. And look at the trace of the different kind of lightnings. So we have some. Okay, so we can trace it from the own material. We'll turn it off, and as you see, we have attained a dark under the object. And now that we've turned off the trace, that's what we got. Now we turn off the global illumination, so it doesn't get reflections from other objects, and this is the effect we have. Okay, port here. We won't. Okay, generating caustics, probably unnecessary here. Let's just look at what we have here. So it's just a white property that does just give a shadow. So, and it's unseeable for the camera here. Let's look at how this thing here works. Alpha with 0. Okay, it is no longer it no longer exists with this kind of material at this value. So that's what we're getting. Getting this kind of channel. Let's go for RGB. We get an RGB channel. So if we save this with alpha, we won't have any image, but we'll have this huge bunch of pixels, I guess, kind of squares. Okay, let's turn on shadow. Okay, let's turn on them on. Now we've got this. I'm still in alpha. Okay. So here's the effect alpha effects. So, but we've already set it. Okay, so we get this kind of effect in the negative. The negative related to the surface of our object. So, and here, what else can I look at? Okay, reflection and refractions. Okay, we don't have a point in turning this stuff around. Just test this stuff over here. Okay, what can this be used at? You can make a scene. Okay. So say you want to put on some objects here. Okay, so, but you don't. Okay, you don't want to see that object in the camera. So you don't have any rendering options. So you'll probably have to use proper for this. So how do you, so all these objects are available with V-Ray properties to add additional functions. So you can use them from here. So you can make it on alpha or make it in matte surface. So this is how we got through all of the materials. So or you can use it through your properties or through materials. We've also done V-Ray two-sided that we used for the lampshades. We've used V-Ray blend that we used for the wallpapers. It's our main material for complex stuff. V-Ray light material here. And this one here should be excluded from the global illumination. So for the backlight here, artifact, just should exclude it. So when you don't want, if there aren't any artifacts that we're doing this kind of work, you don't have to use, you can use V-Ray light. Or V-Ray on the mesh. Okay, material proper. You can edit the properties from the right click here. Okay, for V-Ray overlight. So in the settings for global illumination, we'll have to add them for additional problems, but we probably won't be using the materials to set any kind of refractions for refraction or reflection use. So in the next lesson, we will be using the V-Ray material. Okay, and we'll be imitating natural objects in cloth. So this seems to be it for the